Joe, I want to ask you, firstly, where you thought this game was won. Big question. And we'll go through several answers.
I mean, it was just a totally different Manchester United, wasn't it? If you'd have said that Manchester United was going to turn up tonight, I would have laughed in your face, quite frankly. It was like a different 11 players. It was totally unrecognisable from the first two games. And I think that partly comes down to Erik Ten Hag making some huge calls in the build-up to this game. Huge calls in the lineup that could very, very easily have backfired. To drop your captain, to drop Cristiano Ronaldo, who in many fans' eyes is still crucial to that team as the goal scorer, to drop Luke Shaw as well, and to stick with the back four, the single man pivot in front, with Eriksen playing the deeper role, which has been a total failure in the first two games. It's huge calls by Erik Ten Hag, and if they'd have gone wrong, he'd have been crucified tonight. Yeah. But they've gone exactly how he wanted them to. I thought Varane and Martinez were exceptional. And my man of the match was probably Tyrell Malacia, who I thought was just brilliant against probably the most dangerous forward in the league. Like
bounds of energy, right? And we thought he was going to tire after 60 minutes, kept Salah under wraps. We thought that maybe Salah was biding his time, thinking this Ute, he's giving it all, beans in the first half, but I'm gonna be predatory, I'm gonna wait for my moment, then strike, and it never came. And that back four, uncharacteristically, tight. Dallo as well, on the other hand, on the other side. Lisandro Martinez deserves a shout-out, given the amount of grief
Lisandro.
He faced sort of post-Brentford.
Battered for the first 2 weeks of the season for his height, hasn't he? And obviously today wasn't up against a particularly aerially dominant centre-forward, and you saw exactly what he's good at. The ground rules, massively aggressive in every confrontation, very tidy on the ball. And yes, I'm sure there are going to be moments throughout this season, let's not get ahead of ourselves, where Lisandro is beaten in the air against, a 6'3" centre-half, and Alexander Mitrovic jumps all over him and everybody goes, oh, look at this. But, you've got to caveat it with what he's good at as well, and clearly that's what he's in the game to do. So it was a big call to maintain him in the centre-back position at United today. And I thought Erik Ten Hag got it right. I thought he was brilliant. I thought everybody, to a man today, worked their socks off. And that's basically the bare minimum United fans wanted. United fans wanted a team that were going to run. That was the best off-the-ball display I've seen since Ralph Rangnick's first 45 against Crystal Palace, which then descended into anarchy. So
one era.
You've got to make sure that's not just a flash in the pan today.
Yeah, so no real standout performance in terms of individuals. You just think that the team selection, Malacia and Martinez, but team cohesion, team chemistry really came to the fore. Ten Hag got his...
He had more goals as well.
His team selection spot on. Yeah, and Varane was making up for what? Any of Lisandro Martinez's shortcomings, Varane stepped in, came across, showed his composure really, really well. I'm going to ask you then, Zach, where do you think the game was lost for Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the starting lineup when it began, there was a lot of youngsters on Liverpool's bench. They've been going through a lot of injuries. Obviously, the suspension as well of Nunez, who you probably think would have started in this game. Bobby Firmino coming in. Was quite unnoticeable throughout the whole 90 minutes. And their midfield, I thought Harvey Elliott got into the game eventually, and he was maybe one of their brighter elements, but you see how they're missing someone like Fabinho. He was on the bench. He did have to come on originally, and the second he came on, Liverpool could put a real foot into the game. They started to control possession. And
United get a lot of joy in that 10 space, weren't they? Especially when Martial came on.
Indeed. And also, I thought you noticed that Trent was then able to push on so much more once Fabinho. And that's, especially at the moment with the lack of Thiago, that's where a lot of their chances are coming through Trent. And so
they're always that was kind of Liverpool. They're always going to be.
They always are
when they're down and missing 3 or 4 key players.
And you got to mention as well that they were maybe a little bit more defensively suspect today. I don't think that was the exact same Liverpool we see normally. The chances that they... And Joe Gomez through the first half as well. I think he got into it again in the second half. But United had many more chances than Liverpool today. I think Liverpool really just about made that single chance which they ended up scoring in the end.
It wasn't a clear cut. Elanga,
chance. There's also the Christian Eriksen free kick, which was a fantastic save from Alisson. Overall, the better team won today. I think that has to be said, and that was Manchester United.
Yeah, Liverpool had more shots on target, but Man United had far more conviction.
The positions from the shots as well are not to the quality of United have. The Elanga chance was so big as well, and obviously hits the post.
United had far more conviction in their forward play, didn't they? And I mean, we were noting down as we went along, the pressing that Sancho was doing, the pressing that Martial was doing. Bruno was everywhere today. I mean, do you think we United players, are they responding now to Erik Ten Hag dropping Ronaldo, dropping Maguire? Does everyone think, okay, this guy is pretty serious, there is going to be a cultural overhaul, I'd like to be a part of it, I'm kind of playing for my future here?
It's been a long time since a manager has been brave enough to make those calls, to drop Maguire, to drop Ronaldo. I think even Rangnick, when he came in, he wanted to do that potentially, but then he thought, you know what, short term, I've got to try and get into this Champions League spot, I'm going to have to maintain these certain positions.
Ten Hag's gone whole hog.
I think Ten Hag has, you know what, this is what needs to happen, and you're either going to work or you're not. And that's not to say Maguire's never going to get back into that team, because I still think there's a good defender in there somewhere, but he's clearly out of form. And we've all watched Maguire over the last 18 months and thought, why aren't United dropping him in? Let's give somebody else a go. And to have Lisandro Martinez and Varane play that well in that game, I think I would be surprised to see Harry Maguire come straight back into the team.
Okay, I wanted to ask you then, what do you think is next for the likes of Ronaldo, Shaw, Maguire, Manchester United's next 3 games, Southampton, Leicester, Arsenal? Do you make an unchanged 11 following this?
No, I would imagine that Casemiro comes in for Scott McTominay in the midfield.
Of course.
I think that's probably highly likely to happen. But I don't see Ronaldo coming back into the team. I'm not massively convinced Ronaldo will still be there at the end of the transfer window. I think that there will be an exit eventually found for him. I've got a £10 on him ending up at Atletico Madrid. I just think it's somehow someone's going to be waived, and that something like that is going to happen.
Yeah.
But
we do know that Atletico wouldn't be able to offer him mega bucks because they're currently under sanctions, aren't they, from La Liga? They're spending.
Ronaldo might eventually go, do you know what, I will take a lesser wage to play in the Champions League and take that hit. So that might well happen, but it's not going to be easy to shift him. Maguire...
Bit of creative accounting by Atletico. It can be done.
I think Maguire will push very hard to come back into the team. United aren't going to sell Maguire. I know that he's been linked to you boys over the last week. I don't see Manchester United selling Maguire in the next 2 weeks. I think it would take a mega offer for that to happen.
No. And surely if you're Maguire now, right, and you're seeing Varane and Martinez perform like that, that's just going to have to drive you.
But the difficulty is for Maguire is, can he play in that same line as Varane? When Varane covers with his athleticism across and he uses his pace and his prowess, that's not where Maguire is at his best. So can he do that? And as for Shaw, Shaw's got an uphill battle now.
Malacia was fantastic today.
He's aggressive, he's going forward.
I actually think it's going to be harder for Shaw to get back in the team than Maguire to an extent. Varane and Martinez seemed very simpatico, didn't they? So I did want to ask you about Maguire. Yeah. You said you think he'd be great in a 3 at Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel.
Well, it's not like it's the player that I'm saying
the
Chelsea
rumours persist. Yeah.
It's not the player that I'm saying that Chelsea... Well, it's also not the player that I'm saying Chelsea need to go and get. I'm just saying, if he was to somehow make his way and somehow,
it materialised, to
be honest, I think when you're playing a 3-at-back system like Thomas Tuchel does, really, you just have to be kind of bang average and you'll be absolutely fine. Have that extra cover. That's the whole point.
But you have players like Malang Sarr was doing a job.
Exactly. And Harry Maguire is going to be an improvement on Malang Sarr, who's now gone on loan to Monaco. I just don't think it would be smart business from United to go and give their club captain to Chelsea.
The issue for Maguire is, I think that at the club, internally, Victor Lindelof is rated extremely highly, especially by Erik Ten Hag. I think that Maguire is in a real battle there with Victor Lindelof, who is...
Well, with the World Cup coming up as well, Maguire's going to be needing to get minutes. That's the thing, and with the World Cup being in November.
I feel like Maguire could play no minutes between now and Christmas, and Gareth Southgate would take him in that squad. Seriously.
Particularly if he persists with the back 3, right? Yeah, Victor Lindelof, his skill set does seem like it would be held in high regard by Erik Ten Hag, for sure.